morning and welcome to the chat on Newsday Amarillo and News Channel 10-2. I'm David Lovejoy.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Rhonda Lahner.
And you cannot tell me who I am. I'll show you.
All right, welcome to the chat. And it's Friday, and it's Friday Friends with our friend Brant Fricker. He's brought a friend with him today, Mr. Todd Pitts. Don't forget, tomorrow we had Rod Teal here last week and with Friday with Fricker. And we talked about this big gathering behind me at Synergy. That kicks off tomorrow. You don't want to miss that. And we've been talking about this all week. Rhonda brought up the basketball coach out at Randall High and about how, as communities, we need to get a place where we can gather and support each other through rough times, tough times. And that's what they're doing at Synergy. But Brant, welcome to the show. Mr. Pitts, welcome to the show this morning. And we're going to tackle today is we talk about generational curses and generational issues. And for me, that's a negative mindset. That's a mindset of being defeated already. Well, it's generational. There's nothing I can do about it. They're going to tell us that is the mindset, and that's part of the problem is the mindset that you think that's the best I can ever do, and especially when we talk about our young people when we deal with that. Brant, take it away, sir.
Yes, my man, and of course, Chuckalicious. I get to be the first to say it on this segment, but you know, there is a poverty of the mind, and we've seen what's happened in our country when you throw money at a problem, it doesn't fix it. It starts in here and it starts in here. And when I met Todd Pitts, who he and his wife Tracy have been spearheading these gatherings in Amarillo, and of course has gone to Bushland and Borger and Dalhart and beyond, I was so impressed with him because he's a fantastic guy. He's just full of life. He loves people, but I noticed he was also very, very successful in what he does. And he just changed one thing in his daily routine that helped him do that. He'll be able to tell you about that. But you've got the Synergy thing in the background right there. We're going to meet tomorrow night, 6:30 p.m. We're just bringing good people together to have a positive impact in this hour. And so it's people like Todd. It's people like you who you know, you put out good media, good things. And isn't it time to prosper as your soul prospers? You mentioned generational curses. Well, I tell you what, Todd's got good news for you. How you doing there, Todd, my brother?
Hey, I'm doing great. Yeah, thank you guys for having me on. And so, and I know it's a short segment, so I'll keep it as short as I can. But I was that dude that I had plans, but I got a girl pregnant, and I'm trying to finish college, so I got a job, and I was going to go be a coach, and I looked at it at the time, it was paying $18,000. Well, man, that looked like it was off the chart. My first year at this job, I made 18, and I'm like, oh, wow, this is not enough. I'm barely, I have no money left over at the end of the month. So this minister got up, and I kind of go into church occasionally, and he was talking about prosperity and all this stuff, and I'm like, oh, man, I'm game in. Let's figure this out. Keep in mind, I've never given a dime to the church. I have no earthly idea how it's funded. I didn't care. It didn't impact me. Well, he got up and taught a message on, will a man rob God? And I thought, rob God? Man, what idiot. You know, some guy getting a gun and going up to God and saying, dude, open the vault, give me all your stuff. And I'm like, man, I'm not that smart, but I would never do that to God. Where's Malachi? So I start to read, and I read, and it said, you're robbing me of tithes and offerings. And I was like, wow, okay. And I thought, man, those guys are idiots. And man, it was like the Lord said, Todd, you're the guy. You're not giving me a tithe. Well, what is that? I got to look, and it was 10%. And I go to church the next Sunday, and I am battling with my flesh. And I'm said, oh, God, now you're freaking wanting my money. And that's my problem. I don't have enough, and now you're asking for 10%. So I'm ticked off, and I go and I throw $4 and change in the offering plate, and I am pissed. I'll just be honest. I am pissed. I get in the car, and I'm like, man, I hope you're freaking happy. I gave you everything I had. I mean, seriously. And well, then the Lord began to download to me, and he says, well, I love a cheerful giver. You gave begrudgingly. And by the way, a tithe is the first part of your deal, and it's 10% of the first. And I'm like, oh, God, oh, God. And I said, but God, the problem is I'm not making enough money. If you give me $1 million, I'll sow 20%. I thought that would impress him, right? You know, he's going to make a lot of money if he gives me $1 million. And he said, Todd, I can't trust you with the 100 that's in your pocket. And I'm like, oh, God, but you don't understand. I mean, it's limited what I got. And, you know, they'll shut my gas off and my electricity off. So anyway, long story short, I mean, you had to put your, you know, this is where the rubber meets the road. And it says, test me in this scripture, and I will prove myself. So he's either telling the truth or he's lying. And my finances were, I mean, it was paycheck to paycheck. And so I decided to, and it was approximately $1,000 paycheck. So I sewed about $100. I gave a tenth, and I began, and at the end of the month, I don't have any money left over every month. Well, this time I not only gave $100, but I paid all the bills and I had money left over. And I'm like, oh God, I made a mistake in my checking book. I'm going through all this stuff. And it became, well, month after month after month after month. I've been doing it now for 32 years. It's not an option. I'm sure you pay your electric bill, because if you don't, they shut it off, right? Well, God has an instruction manual on blessing you. And I was at a church the other day, and the guy, and I don't, anyway, this is what they said let 3% of the people are giving the full tithe. So I think a lot of people come and they go and they throw $20, $50, $100. It's like, yeah, but the economy's going on and all this stuff. That's not what he said. He said, I want the first 10%. It's not optional. It doesn't belong to you. So you're not giving it to God because it already belongs to him. But when you begin to do that, and you begin to sow that seed, he watches over it, and he makes sure he takes care of all the rest.